There are seasons when life goes quiet in strange ways. Small misfires, odd coincidences, conversations that land heavier than they should. It's not random noise. It's the air thickening before the first drop hits. What feels like stillness is pressure building in the direction you've been moving. Most people miss this because they scan for the loud signal, the drama, the cinematic moment. The real cue is subtler. What no longer fits begins to loosen on its own. You're here at that edge. If you listen closely, you can hear the old scaffolding creak. That isn't collapse, it's clearance. The system is making space. You don't need grand gestures right now. You need a steadier reading of the dashboard. There is a pattern to what shows up just before everything tilts in your favor. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This isn't mysticism. It's how humans cross thresholds. Today, you'll learn to read those signs, hold the tension without flinching, and choose like the person who's already arrived. Quiet isn't absence. Quiet is alignment, preparing to move. The calm is not empty, it's loaded. You win more often by taking things away than by adding more effort. The brain loves accumulation because it looks like progress, but the nervous system performs best under coherence. When misaligned roles, obligations, or habits fall away, energy returns with surprising speed. Subtraction is not retreat, it is precision. Ask which version of you cannot pass through the next doorway, and let that version end. A founder I worked with stopped chasing 5 promising opportunities and kept one unglamorous path that actually paid. In 4 weeks, her confidence returned, not because she worked harder, but because her load finally matched her stride. A musician did something similar. He cut 3 platforms, posted 1 rough take a day on the one he liked, and booked more gigs than in the previous quarter. Reduction increases resonance, and resonance compounds results. If a commitment neither stabilizes your finances, deepens your craft, nor strengthens a key relationship, it is probably static disguised as ambition. Begin by removing one obligation that drains you and serves no core aim. Then remove one tool you only touch when you want to feel busy. Make room for the work that can actually expand. Winning often sounds like less, then looks like more. 2 weeks before a promotion cycle, Maya was sure she had blown it. One friend had gone distant. A side contract evaporated. Sleep was choppy. She read these as proof of decline. We reframed the pattern as a system shaking off mismatches. She stopped chasing the friend, archived the contract, moved her workouts to daylight, and wrote a plain 1-line update for her manager every afternoon. From the outside, her life looked messier. Inside, friction dropped. In meetings, her tone settled. Answers shortened. She said less, more cleanly. That same week, she wasn't chosen for a project she secretly dreaded, and was tapped for a quieter one that fit her strengths. Nothing mystical happened. She stopped feeding noise, and signal grew. The next 1-to-1, her manager noted how calm she seemed under load. We added one more move, a 5-minute evening review naming what to stop doing tomorrow. Within a fortnight, she had fewer open loops and steadier mornings. By the time promotions were announced, she hadn't dazzled. She had become reliably useful. That is often how winning begins. Less glitter, more gravity. If the ground feels unstable, check what's leaving, not only what's wrong. What wobbles may be clearing space for a better fit. Remove your reinforcement from what no longer supports you, and let the better alignment land without apology. Imagine standing before 2 doors. One is labeled with every comfort you've earned. The other is unlabeled. No map, no guarantee, only a draft of the person you're becoming. The first door lowers anxiety now. The second lowers it later. Most people keep reading the first sign until the hallway lights flicker. The brave learn to step through the unlabeled door while the sign is still missing. Courage here is mostly calibration, not theatrics. Ask, what tiny behavior would my arrived self normalize today that my current self still rationalizes? Send the email without burying it in context. Decline the misfit invite without apology. Keep one promise that costs a little reputation and buys a lot of integrity. These acts are small, but they tell your nervous system that ambiguity can be survived. Treat the unlabeled door as a training protocol. Choose one act that moves you a degree toward the future you are preparing for, then recover, notice the spike in tension, and go again. Ambiguity becomes tolerable when experienced in repeatable, safe doses. Over days, the hallway brightens. You don't need the sign to change before you move. You need your footing to strengthen as you do. The signal you're waiting for often appears only after you're already inside. Right before completion, effort often dips and doubt spikes. Two mechanisms help explain this. The goal gradient effect, we speed up or stall as the end nears, and the Zeigarnik effect, unfinished tasks stay cognitively hot, pulling attention back. Add identity shift and you get a peculiar drag. The body slows while the next version of you boots up. People misread this as failure. It is usually an energy reallocation problem. Close loops deliberately. Write a one-line definition of done for what's finishing, and park stray tasks on a single capture list to cool them down. Then pre-select one frictionless next action for the first step of the next arc, so momentum has somewhere to land. Schedule a short bridge session between projects to name what you learned, what you're leaving behind, and what you will measure next. Ritual helps. Archive files to a closed folder, send a brief final state note to stakeholders, and give the work a date-stamped title. Mark the transition physically, walk, stretch, step outside. When both ending and beginning are named, the edge softens. You are not losing steam, you are switching engines, and that takes a beat. Expect the stall, and you won't invent a crisis where there isn't one. You don't wait for motivation, you design for momentum. Desire is often a lagging indicator of congruent action. Two levers help: environment and identity. Remove 1 inch of friction from the next honest step, shortcut, template, pre-decision, and speak about yourself the way your behavior is trying to become. I'm someone who ships small things on time, lands differently than I hope to be consistent. A useful pair, short time boxes and simple if-then plans. Research on implementation intentions shows that pre-deciding if situation X, then I do Y can roughly double goal follow-through. Pair that with one sentence that names why this matters to you now. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Purpose steadies attention. Logistics carry it. Example, if it's 8:30, I draft for 15 minutes before checking messages, because I'm building a body of work that frees my future. Put the tools in reach, remove the optional steps, and let the clock help you. Keep the task small enough to start under mild resistance and meaningful enough to matter once finished. Let motivation trail behind like a shadow. It will catch up when your actions are aligned. When progress is visible and costs are bounded, desire tends to arrive. If the arrived you quietly took over your schedule tomorrow, what would survive unchanged? What would be cut without debate? Who would still get a yes? You don't need a reinvention day. You need one unmistakable gesture, proving you're done auditioning for a life you've already earned. Let it be modest. Let it be final. Decline the flattering distraction. Ship the imperfect draft. Ask for the conversation you've avoided, because the answer might move the story forward. Direction, not drama, is the point. Your nervous system builds trust from kept promises, not declarations. 5 minutes of decisive action, repeated, beats 2 hours of planning, abandoned. Choose one place where you've been bargaining with yourself and end the bargain today. Then make a tiny public commitment that locks the gain. A calendar block, a teammate looped in, a short note that sets expectations. For the next 24 hours, behave as if the outcome were already likely. Speak briefly. Touch the work daily. Decline anything that would be impressive but irrelevant. The person who wins from here isn't louder. They are less divided. If you act from arrival, the world begins to arrange around that signal. Not because it owes you, but because consistent behavior teaches others how to treat your time. For the next 24 hours, make one decision you're certain your arrived self would make. Keep it small. One email, one boundary, one send. Then drop a quick comment with the action you took and what it nudged next. If you're in, type arrival so others can find you and stack momentum together. Willpower is unreliable under stress. Pre-decisions are steadier. 2 complementary tools matter here. Mental contrasting, seeing the desired future while naming the likely obstacles, and implementation intentions, binding those obstacles to a specific response. Visualization alone can backfire by giving you the feeling of progress without the friction of action, source provided. When you contrast the wish with the obstacle and wire an if-then, behavior gets simpler under load. Template it. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. I want to draft 3 pages before noon because the chapter is due. The obstacle is morning email. If I catch myself opening the inbox before writing, then I close it and type for 10 minutes first. The point is not heroism. It's reducing ambiguity at the exact moment it appears. Pre-decisions shrink the cognitive cost of beginning. Stack one identity line on top. I'm the kind of person who honors the first block. It's small, but identity statements prime congruent choices. Over a week, you'll notice fewer decisions and more starts. Debunk the myth that motivation precedes action. Often motivation follows a well-designed start. Keep your plans embarrassingly specific and let them run on ordinary days. Under stress, the brain reaches for what's simple and previously rehearsed. Give it something honest to reach for. A creative director I coached, Jules, kept missing deadlines by improving work that was already good. We imposed 3 constraints: 1 tool per deliverable, 1 hour of uninterrupted focus, 1 clear definition of done written before she began. The first week felt restrictive. By week 2, her drafts sped up and reviews got kinder. She had narrowed the playground, and her attention stopped wandering into perfection traps. Constraints are not punishment. They're rails that carry momentum. Think of a narrow channel that speeds a river. By deciding what you won't allow, extra fonts, last-minute color explorations, 5 tabs of inspiration, you free bandwidth to make the few real choices well. The psyche relaxes when parameters are known. Anxiety often hides in undefined edges. Constraints draw the edges, so anxiety has less room to multiply. Common mistake: using constraints as a reason to avoid risk. A living constraint tightens scope while preserving the core challenge. It should make shipping easier and quality clearer. Try setting 1 sacred constraint for your most slippery task this week. Name it, post it where you'll see it, and keep it for 7 days. The point isn't to be austere, it's to lower noise so signal can stand up. When the box is shaped well, the work inside grows. Picture 2 folders on your desk, labeled Future A and Future B. Future A is the next quarter if you keep choosing small relief over small progress. Instantly responsive, pleasantly busy, vaguely resentful. Future B is the next quarter if you keep choosing one tiny fidelity to your larger aim each day. Occasionally uncomfortable, clearly cumulative, quietly proud. Both futures are made of micro-choices you repeat until they harden into a life. Open each folder in your mind. Future A contains tidy notes, many meetings, and work that moves a lot, but rarely lands. Future B contains fewer lines, more drafts, and a handful of finished things you would sign your name to twice. Neither requires a dramatic pivot tomorrow. They diverge by one or two choices repeated under mild stress. What you open first, the meeting you decline, the draft you send at 80% instead of polishing to 101%. Lay one item from Future B on today's desk. Make it visible. Align your first hour with it before you explain yourself to anyone. Then, protect a small patch of time, even 15 minutes, where Future A can't follow. The distance between futures grows faster than you think. The desk doesn't care which folder you open, but your days do, and days become a life with surprising speed. Discipline isn't self-punishment. It's care extended across time. When you treat discipline as devotion to a craft, a relationship, a future self, compliance stops depending on moods. You're not forcing yourself, you're honoring an agreement. That shift dissolves a lot of hidden resistance. The nervous system relaxes when it recognizes familiar, benevolent structure. I take care of my work by touching it daily, lands softer than I must be productive. Rituals help devotion feel lived. A consistent opening move, a short recap at the end, a sentence that names what matters. These are quiet liturgies that keep the thread. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Devotion keeps attention inside what you can govern while acknowledging what you can't. Debunk. Discipline equals rigidity. In practice, devotion is flexible about method and firm about the appointment. If you're exhausted, the devoted version of discipline becomes gentler without disappearing. A shorter session, a simpler subtask, a restorative walk that keeps the covenant with your energy. Over time, devotion outperforms bursts of harshness because it's sustainable. Ask where discipline currently feels like punishment. Rewrite that rule as a caring agreement you could keep for a year. Then start keeping it today, softly and without drama. Winning often requires abandoning the right things quickly. Humans are prone to sunk cost bias and escalation of commitment. We double down on losing paths because we've invested so much already. The paradox: strategic quitting is a form of loyalty to your deeper aim, your finite attention, and the people counting on your best work. Quitting the misaligned frees resources to sustain the aligned. Build a simple triage: hard and true versus hard and misaligned. Both feel difficult. Only one pays life back. Hard and true sharpens you and compounds results over time. Hard and misaligned drains you while producing little that matters. When a path repeatedly fails the true test, no skill growth, no traction, no resonance with core values, retire it on purpose. Name the lesson, close the loop, and return the energy to what survives scrutiny. Debunk. Grit at all costs. Endurance is noble when the road is real. It's wasteful when the map is wrong. Courage sometimes looks like leaving a story mid-scene so a better one can continue. If you need a ritual, use a short exit memo to yourself. Why this isn't yours anymore. what you learned, and where that reclaimed capacity is going next. Quitting cleanly is not failure, it's design. Right before you win, visibility becomes the new threshold. Success is not only about competence, it's about tolerating being watched, judged, and occasionally misunderstood. Many stall here, not for lack of skill, but because receiving attention threatens old safety strategies. The spotlight effect, our tendency to overestimate how much others notice us, magnifies this discomfort. You think the room is staring, mostly it isn't. And when it is, you can learn to breathe through it. Ask what part of being seen you resist most. Exposure to critique, envy from peers, the loss of plausible deniability. Then design a small, safe exposure. Share one piece of work publicly without preambles. Say thank you to praise without downshifting. Let an accurate compliment land. Visibility metabolizes when it's experienced in manageable doses. Ethical note: being seen doesn't require becoming performative. You can calibrate how much of your private life stays private. What matters is letting your work be findable by the people it could help. Consider visibility as service, helping the right others locate the value you've labored to make. The sooner you tolerate that light, the sooner your results can compound where it counts. Thresholds announce themselves quietly. Subtraction that frees energy, endings that feel heavier than expected, small acts aligned with an identity you're ready to inhabit. When you read those signals without panic, you stop arguing with the moment and start cooperating with it. Design starts that run on ordinary days. Let constraints narrow the path so attention deepens. Choose the unlabeled door in small, repeatable ways until the hallway brightens. Quit what can't carry you. Devote yourself to what will. From here, you don't need louder effort. You need cleaner allegiance to the few moves that change the most. For the next stretch, act as if you've already arrived. Not with bravado, but with steadiness. Protect your mornings, end your loops, accept your share of visibility. This is how everything changes in plain sight. Quietly, then obviously, then all at once.